Hi, everybody. We're doing something different for this week's Cyber Saturday tech tip. And this time I am joined by my friend and partner, George Bardisi, and who is with bVoIP. And what do you guys do there, George?
Yeah, we're a software company that works with IT and managed services companies around the world to adopt unified communications in a very integrated way into their companies. And then, if they have the same challenge with their end customers and they're looking for something, they have the option to offer that to their customers too.
Great. And so I reached out to George because what made news this week was a 3CX, an incident with 3CX, which is a phone platform that's used by major companies. I saw that American Express and like a lot of other companies actually use this platform. And there was some malicious code that came out. And what happened, George?
Yeah, so it looks like the really advanced people over at SentinelOne, which is a security platform, picked this up first. But the desktop applications, right? Like if you were to go to install Microsoft Teams on your computer or Zoom on your computer or Outlook on your computer, the application you would install on your computer as your soft phone, right? That, you would use to interact with the phone system was compromised, right? So in a very non-technical way, somewhere upstream, and they call this supply chain, by the way, not my words, but upstream, 3CX was using components to compile their app, and a bad guy was able to get malicious code into that compilation with some of the libraries that 3CX was using to develop their app. And so, I don't know, this went to last week, right? And then SentinelOne picked it up, and then, other security companies started, kind of picking up on the same thing with their own platforms. And then effectively, they were just automatically blacklisting and quarantining the desktop application for Mac and Windows, for this particular platform. So if you were on the early adopter list and you just auto updated anytime there was an update like you would with Windows or anything else, the latest release update for this particular platform had the desktop applications specifically, which were the ones that were affected. So that's what happened.
Wow. And so if somebody isn't running, so SentinelOne found it and quarantined it, but if someone's not running SentinelOne, or even if they are and they're concerned, how do they tell if they, I open up my 3CX desktop app, how do they tell if they should be concerned or not, if they should uninstall it?
Yeah. So the app versions are definitely online. If you go, like when you go into your control panel and you do add remove programs and you see all of the software on your computer, there's usually a version column, right? Which tells you what release you're on. So if you're on a specific version of the app, and they're online, just Google it. It's everywhere. There's two separate versions, 18.xx versions of the app. If you're on one of the affected versions, you should just literally uninstall the app. And then that just kind of, right now stops the bleeding if you do actually have it installed. The manufacturer's already come out and, kind of said, hey, here's going to be an updated version of the app and a hot fix that's not affected. And then there'll be updates after that. And of course, this is going to kind of move on the fast. But in the meantime, there is a web client, which you can open up in your browser, and it works exactly the same. Obviously, if you have a desk phone or a VoIP device, they're not affected. If you're on the mobile apps for Android or iOS, also unaffected. So it's literally just the installed desktop applications for the two operating systems.
Okay. So if at all concerned, uninstall the desktop app, ask your IT guys how to connect to the web version, or use your desk phone or something like that. So
yeah. So like, you're not out of luck. It's not like you're going to stop using your telephony platform. It's just, hey, these particular most recent version of the apps, which by the way, have only been out for less than 8 days, 7 days. I mean, this is not something that's been out for months and months. So you could potentially be on an earlier version, not the absolute latest version of the phone system, but you could be on an earlier version, like update 5 or update 6. And they're not affected, right? It's just the most recent release, which is what they call update 7.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. So go out and Google 3CX, the compromised versions, something to that effect, and you'll find the exact versions, and you'll find the news articles about it.
100%.
So now this does bring up a question, because they were able to slip this into the supply chain attack, right? Because people had automatic updates turned on. So now, in the past, and I'm sure there still are, there were IT guys that are like, this is why I don't do automatic updates. I'll just go out there and manually do my updates to make sure that none of this stuff happens. And that's not the way we want to do it. We want to, like George was saying, that was 7 or 8 days it's been out there in the wild. And, we cannot stop all automatic updates. Otherwise, there's going to be more breaches that get out there. But also, don't be the first in line to go apply updates either. So what we do, and I don't know in your other business, George, but we generally let them sit out there a couple weeks to make sure that there's nothing horrible, because you can't, for 3,000 endpoints, you just can't wait forever to install it. But you also don't want to install it the day it comes out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, some people just go with the default setting and they just hope that everything that comes down from even Microsoft is good to go. But we know that doesn't always happen. Sometimes they get it wrong too. And so while I think part of the challenge and why there's IT companies out there that kind of help manage some of this is that you need to actually be paying attention to what is coming down and just do a little bit of homework to make sure, hey, is this a wide issue? For example, there was an Outlook update that came out last month that was like breaking down Outlook. And then it took a couple of days for Microsoft to actually fix the issue. And if everybody in your organization is using that as their main email, kind of delivery, bad news, right? So sometimes you need to not be too far behind, but maybe not get it the exact time that it gets released, so that you give things time to kind of settle a little bit. And you know what? If you're in a highly regulated environment, and it's worth paying a little bit of extra attention to this, maybe you're setting it up where you have a kind of siloed environment to test patches and updates as they come out before you release them in production to the rest of your organization. So there's a lot of ways to go about this, but I think the message we're trying to get across is, hey, you can't not do updates forever, and you can't just forget to do them because you'll just be so far behind that you've put yourself into a bad spot. But maybe don't take it the second it comes out. Maybe let everybody else in the world figure out whether there's a problem. And then, once it's good to go, maybe a week or two or something like that, where it's had enough time to become an issue, then you can adopt it and roll it out to your organization. So set it and forget it, maybe not the right answer.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the day, they used to send out CDs or floppy disks with the updates. We were able to test it out. Now it just comes at us too fast. But yeah, so just be careful, but don't wait forever to do it. So
100%,
all right.
Middle of the road.
George, I appreciate it. I appreciate the advice and the education on 3CX. And for our people that are out there watching these Cyber Saturday videos, if you have any questions on any of this, don't hesitate to reach out to us at Colorado Computer Support. We're experts at this, and we can help you with your voice, your telephony, and also your general IT. And you can find us on the web at www.coloradosupport.com or at 719-439-0599. And you can find George's company at bvoip.net. Is it?
.com.
.com, sorry. www.bvoip.com. So everybody have a great week. And thank you very much, George, for your assistance.
Happy to help.